Good morning and welcome to our Mission and Outreach podcast. I think we are live. Do you think we're live?
Well, let's pretend we are.
I don't know. It's buffering.
Let's
Maybe
imagine.
we are live. Oh, there we go. Now it's saying that we are live.
We're good?
All right. We are apparently good.
We're good to go.
Let's start again. Good
All right.
morning and welcome to our Mission and Outreach podcast. It's so good to be with you guys. I'm Reverend Esteban and Jock, Outreach Minister for Southside Uniting Church.
I'm Reverend Jock Dunbar, New Missions Minister for Southside as well.
And we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we gather, the Turrbal and Jagera peoples, and we continue to pray for God's ongoing work of reconciliation among all of his children. So, Jock, we have been at face-to-face services for nearly a month now. I think this next week will make 4 weeks, yeah?
This is the fourth one coming, yes.
Yes. Now, you've been a busy boy. You've had the most, out of all of us, have had the most services.
Oh, have I?
You have.
I know I've been on every week.
Yes, whereas I think the rest of us have had a chance to have a bit of a break.
That would explain the fatigue.
Yes. Why am I so tired?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, well, I was just going to say, how are you feeling?
Yeah. It's really good. It's actually really good. Just completely focusing on me now and my own experience of it. The thing that I like about it is it gets you back into that rhythm, the weekly rhythm. So just from a preaching leading perspective, and maybe you can relate to this yourself in something that maybe like work that you might do regularly. It's the routine, or even study. Having that routine where you're doing something every week, it's and when you haven't been doing it for some time, the first time, the second time, it takes a while. So the first week for me, it felt like, oh, this is like really new, but it's not new. Yeah, it was that sort of weird, awkward feeling. But no, it's been really, really positive. I've actually really enjoyed myself. I've really enjoyed the process. Again, so that's really good to sort of reconnect with that. Yeah, reconnect with those feelings and after having so much time of like occasional, being the guest preacher for the online services and that kind of thing. Yeah, hopefully that feeling has been replicated amongst the people who've been able to attend that kind of thing. But I've been getting some positive feedback though.
Yeah.
How many have you been involved with?
2, but they were both on the same Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I've only had the 2, but I've been at the first contemporary service we did at Tarragindi.
Yes.
And I was at the contemporary service we did at Tarragindi last week as well.
Yes, you were.
So I've had that opportunity to observe and be a part of it too.
Yeah.
And of course, we still have the Brazilian service every Saturday.
Oh, yes.
So that's another opportunity for me to preach, and I'm often picking up on our themes and trying to keep a consistent community together, even though it's in Portuguese. There's some deviation, yes, because there are some things that the Brazilian community is experiencing at the moment, which are quite unique, with everything that's happening back home in Brazil. But largely, the journey that we are taking is the same one that Southside is taking, and that's very intentional. We really want the Brazilian community to be a part of Southside, even though right now it's mostly an online community. Reflecting on my experiences, it was the coldest morning I think we had in Brisbane for a long time, and I was visibly sweating because it was full on to come back to
the pressure, the tension,
the setup. David Fender was in, I think, both of my services that week as well, and that probably didn't help much. He's most welcome to come whenever, but
especially when he's holding like a paper clipboard and a pen and sort of doing this and making notes, and then holds up a number at the end. I still don't understand what that number is about. Did you get that? I got that number as well. I don't know. What that's,
yes. So it was a bit of pressure, back-to-back services, man. Have you had to do back-to-back yet?
No, this is my No, I haven't. So I've done just one service each Sunday across 3 different places. So
Yes.
Holland Park, Yeronga and Tarragindi. This week I've got 2 services, Mount Gravatt in the morning, or the first, and then Yeronga here
Yes.
for the second one. So this is the first one just doing back-to-back.
Yeah. So carve out some time in the afternoon for a good rest.
Oh, yes.
Because
yes.
that was my feeling at the end of it, was just, oh my goodness. So it's good that we are, as a team, are backing each other up and having those times. But you've got some holiday time coming up as well.
Oh, well, yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's we're moving house. So as part of the entitlement for moving, when you're a Uniting Church minister, the synod gives you a couple of weeks moving in time, so which is very generous, because some places you don't get any. You don't get any moving in time, maybe a day or 2 or 3 days. so having that 2 weeks is pretty amazing. So that'll be really excellent. Looking forward to it just being done.
Yes, indeed.
Being done.
Indeed.
But I'm not the only one who's moving, because this guy, he's doing that as well. So,
Yes.
so do you have, where are you at in terms of your moving?
Well, yeah, we're still waiting to hear. We're pretty much landed in place. So for all those of you who have been praying and been in that space, thank you so much. We've been really blessed. But dates and things of that nature we still haven't nailed yet. And so, yes, with you, it'll be time away from the ministry, but not exactly relaxing time off. No.
No, because it's school holidays as well. So we've got 3 kids. So moving into a place and having kids at home as well. It's interesting times.
Yes.
A bit of juggling, and for yourself as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
will you be doing the same thing? Will you be taking a couple of weeks moving in time too?
Yeah, mine is kind of a bit of an emergency kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that'll be a conversation. But it goes back to what I was saying before about us being a team and filling in for each other and helping out that way.
Yeah, okay.
So that's been really good to be on that journey together as a team. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, that's the future of ministry in the 21st century. I don't think, not that I'm disparaging this at all, but I don't think that single minister model carries very well, because we are in a denomination, in the Uniting Church, we are in a movement where we really value collaborative leadership, collaborative engagement. And so the idea of working together as a team, we already do this in our discernment, don't we? We very rarely discern alone. And some of our most successful discernment is always done in a team, working together, whether that's a team of churches, a team of ministry agents, a team where we are collaborating with synod or presbytery, or in my case, in the multicultural space, a team of people from different cultures and languages who come from different backgrounds and want to work together to fulfill God's mission. So I think it's really interesting. I think we are very much experiencing probably the cusp of what the Christian church will look like for future generations.
Yeah, and it's interesting you should say that. My expectation coming into the Uniting Church 15 years ago was that was actually how the Uniting Church was going to be organised.
Yep.
Was in a far more collaborative space than what I realised it was at the time, and still is to a certain extent. But the interesting thing with the Uniting Church, and this is going really wide here, is that we are built and structured in a collaborative way because of all the intercouncils, interconciliar nature of the church is how we talk about it. But that's not quite realised, I suppose, down at the grassroots.
That's right, yeah.
That's kind of, going up and broad, presbytery, synod, those kinds of things, all the different committees that are arranged, it doesn't kind of really translate between congregations necessarily. The one thing I do want to point out that maybe a few people who might be listening in or watching this might want to say is that even though some congregations haven't been sort of linked or clustered or joined together in an official capacity, there has been really good relationships between some Uniting Church ministers, over longer periods of time. so that when one goes on holidays or one is away, they call the one local down the road to sort of have a bit of backup or a bit of support, just in case anything happens. Can you look after this pastorally? It's probably more for the pastoral sort of support. But what I know that's not what you're talking about.
No,
But there has been a little bit of that. That's sort of happened in, I suppose, a bit of an ad hoc.
Yeah. So, for
Ad hoc
example,
kind of way.
my dear friend David Kim from Morningside, when he went on holidays recently, he asked me to come and preach and to just be there in the mix. And he had other people as well who were there. He goes regularly on mission trips into East Asia. I can't tell you where he actually goes for his own safety, but it's wonderful to be able to be there and to support him in that way when he does go. And it's not a big thing. Like it's just, can I give my church council your phone number in case there is a funeral or a hospital visit?
It's like an
or something
emergency
like that.
contact.
Exactly. And I think I took one. He was away for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I took one of those weeks.
Okay.
And so that's good. And I think my mother took another one of those weeks while he
Yeah.
was away as well.
Yeah.
So it's
But what you're saying is that, that it needs to go further than that. It needs to go more into not just between ministry colleagues who might be down the road from each other or in the same area, but what we're doing here.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I think that's the future for where we're headed, and which is really amazing because, of course, that's a lot of what Southside is about, isn't it? It's about thinking ahead, considering where is God leading us in our mission and service in the Southside.
Yeah.
And of course,
reading the present, like,
and reading,
when you say looking ahead, like based on now,
that's right.
Like what is happening now, and trying to read the signs.
Yes.
Right. So now it's and of course everyone's thinking it all. So it's not a new question. But what are the new realities that we may be able to anticipate down the road based on how things have been going lately, particularly with COVID-19 lockdowns, living with COVID-19, whatever that means, and all the implications for ministry practice, mission, outreach.
Yes.
What do all these kinds of things look like now? How much of that is in person? How much of it isn't in person? And sort of digging into the assumptions, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That we've had and have been seriously subverted through these last few months.
Yeah. Talking about that. So on Saturday we had the Timor Children's Foundation virtual luncheon. Virtual luncheon. So for those of you who aren't aware, normally the Timor Children's Foundation would have a luncheon, and that would be like their big fundraising event of the year, where they would be inviting all of their supporters, saying thank you, and encouraging people to give to the Timor Children's Foundation that supports the great work of Samaria House, the dental clinics in Timor-Leste, and the scholarships for students across Timor. It's an amazing ministry and mission.
Wow, that's fabulous.
And one of our worship centres, Tarragindi, has been involved in that for a long time. So we're really proud to get behind it. But obviously this year, with COVID restrictions, how are you going to have a luncheon? You really can't do it. So instead, what we did is we worked together, we collaborated with people in Timor-Leste, and we were able to put together something like 8 videos, not only from Timor, but also here in Australia, of people who support the ministry. And we were able to have a virtual luncheon that way with a Zoom catch-up that took place afterwards.
Right.
The figures were saying that normally one of the luncheons would have about 180 people. There were over 500 views to the YouTube channel. So that's amazing. What a great way for us to pivot and try and tell the story of the Timor Children's Foundation in such a special way. Now, those videos are going to be up there for a little while longer. We're working through all of the situation to do with, having videos that depict children and whatnot and everything. We've done a really good job, but I just don't want to say, go there in 6 months' time and those videos will still be up there, because we don't know that will happen. But certainly for the moment, It's going to be really, really cool to go ahead and have a look there. And if you want to give, visit timorchildrens.com.au. Russell, our third and unseen member of our team, Russell, is here, and he's got something to say.
How do I say it? Mum?
Kathy,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, probably say the name.
Kathy
The name.
says, I'm loving Russian roulette of who is preaching each week. I agree that the ministry teams are the future.
Thank you, Russell. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't know what that means. So Russian roulette is this situation. I'm not sure that I would describe what we're doing quite that way. Thank you, Kathy, for that colorful
Yes.
description.
Yes.
Who's the bullet?
Yeah. Who's shooting?
Who's shooting?
Who's at the
Who
table?
pulls the trigger?
Oh goodness. Thanks, Kathy. It's okay. It's okay. Kathy said the same thing to me when I saw her on Sunday.
Okay.
Not the Russian roulette thing, but
No.
it's almost like the mystery box. It's more of a mystery box.
Yes,
type situation.
it is. It is a bit of a mystery box. Yes.
Yeah, but that's good. So Kathy's enjoying not knowing
Yeah.
who's going to be
Who's preaching where.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's preaching where each week.
Yeah.
So turn up.
And enjoy.
Yep. Oh, that's right. I remember you saying, it's the Forrest Gump thing. You never know what you're going to get.
Yes. That's a better
Yeah.
analogy,
It's
in my opinion.
Yes.
Life's like a box of chocolates.
It's the box of chocolates.
That's right.
The box of chocolates.
This video is not sponsored.
Not yet. Yes.
That's
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yep. Very good. Now there was two things I was going to ask you about the TCF.
Yeah.
So firstly, the way you pronounced, now I would say Leicester, but the way you said it was different.
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
So I use all the names in Portuguese.
Yes, because Portuguese.
Portuguese is one of the
Yes,
languages,
yes.
official languages of Timor-Leste.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
So Leste.
Leste, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
So, yeah.
That's all right. And then the second thing was luncheon.
Luncheon.
Why luncheon? Why not just lunch?
I don't know.
I don't like. If you know what a luncheon is and how a luncheon is different to a lunch, can you tell me? Can you just
Yes, put it in the comments.
put it in the comments?
Put it in the comments.
And
And Russell will tell us.
Yeah, that's right.
If you know what a luncheon is.
What is the
versus a
difference?
lunch, or better yet, if there's someone from the Tarragona community who knows why they went for luncheon
Yes.
instead of lunch,
Yes.
you can tell us as well, and that's fine.
Maybe
Very
it's just the way that it rolls off the tongue.
Maybe.
Because luncheon,
Luncheon,
instead of lunch,
yes.
instead of ending on the ch. So I have no idea.
I do not know.
I have no idea.
I do not know. But we're proud supporters,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's great.
I love hearing about it, and I'm sorry to say I haven't seen the videos yet. You can probably tell, but I will within the next 6 months. No. I'll see it much sooner than that, because I'm not sure if I've said this in this venue, but I had the opportunity to go to Timor. I'll say Leicester. Some years ago, rather than say East Timor as well.
Yeah.
Some years ago, when was it? I don't know. Some years ago, and one of the people who founded TCF, Bob Mitchell.
Yes.
The Reverend Bob Mitchell, who's down in Melbourne. And hopefully you're keeping safe, Bob.
Yes.
Thinking of you and your family. Began that, and I know one of our other members, Dick Copland,
That's
was
right.
a big part of that influence with Bob and starting the foundation too.
Yes.
Sponsored me to go.
Is that right?
For a 10-day. I don't know what you'd call it. A guided tour. So we went around and saw the orphanages and the schools. And other places that TCF has been involved with, and projects that they had going at that time. Went to one of the churches as well that we'd partnered with. Just got to meet some people.
So you probably would have met Pastor Moises.
Yes, I did.
So he's on the videos.
I went to his house. We went
Beautiful.
we went, Moises. As I say, Moises. Like, so for those who don't know what I'm saying, so Moises went to his house and his family, and his wife made the best. I hope I've got the right person.
Me too. You
I hope I've got the right
are
person.
really going to have to watch the video now.
I am.
Maybe
But
let's leave it there.
The
and
best fried chicken.
The best
It was
fried
the
chicken.
best fried chicken. It was amazing.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah. Anyway,
How about if you have a look at the videos?
I will.
And next week, or next time we're together,
I can picture him now in my mind.
we can unpack that
We
a little
will.
bit more. I
We
think
will.
that'll be cool. And
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll put a call out to TCF,
Yes.
and we'll invite their members to participate
Yeah.
while we are chatting.
That sounds
and
good.
sharing it.
That sounds good.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love it when a plan comes together. So so we're talking worship at the moment.
Yes.
And the way how COVID has really pushed us to expand into some of the different spaces. But I think one of the big things at the moment is, what do we do on the weeks where we're not at the worship centres we've traditionally been at?
Yes. Can I share? I was talking to someone yesterday from our congregation, and this comment came out of nowhere. It blew me away. We were talking about our buildings,
Yep.
right? And in the context of that, this person shared with me and said this: Jock, if there's one thing that I've learnt over these past few months, it's that the buildings are not important.
Yep.
They are not important. It is about the people.
Yes.
I had,
So good.
where did that come from? I'm sitting there and where did that come, but wow, what a fantastic insight that this person was able to, really grab a hold of. And I think, and in the context of our conversation now about worship, there's restrictions on how many people we can have in our centres, okay? And maybe it's the case that we might get to a place where we won't be able to get everyone into the building, per week. So what do we do? But if you take that sort of scenario and pair it with that comment that the church is not about the building, it's not about being at a specific place and time, whatever, and that's church. No, we're the church.
Yeah.
So, and while it might be inconvenient to not be able to, got a delivery going on here as well.
Yeah, that's right.
To be able to worship together when we'd like, we can still be the church. So what are the ways then in which, maybe this is not, so in that scenario, maybe that's not the moment then for you to join together and worship with other people. Maybe that's a moment and a time to be on mission.
That's right.
So I think this is kind of what we're playing with is what would it look like? What are the possibilities that are available to you for being on mission on a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening but just starting there.
Or a Saturday, or the Friday.
Sure.
The reality is that our worship life is not limited to a Sunday.
Good. No.
If you for whatever reason find you can't be at church on that Sunday, it's always good to take that energy and put that into some other missional space. Jock, I'm reminded of something that a dear friend of ours once said. Antonella, I don't know if you remember her from South Australia. She worked quite closely with Ruth Mary.
I don't think so. Well, I know Ruth Mary, though. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure it'll come to you later.
Okay, yeah.
But Antonella, she said to me, she's raised Catholic in Italy, and she said to me once, when we fast, right, there's an energy output that we would normally be putting into going out there, finding food and whatever. I remember she painted it in this real kind of Neanderthal type scenario.
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, gee, Antonella, what do? Do you go to the central markets and hunt down some animals or something? It's crazy. But not to take away from what she said, she went on to explain that if we can take that energy from that space, right,
Yeah.
and we can invest that into something missional, it can actually have a really great reward attached. You can really feel like you're achieving something, because from that taking away, you are putting in energy to do something else
Yeah.
and something different. You're breaking your normal routine
Yes.
to do something that's different and cool. And so that's kind of what we're encouraging people to do as well.
So it's like, okay, I can't go to worship. I'll fast worship
Mm-hmm.
and put that energy into
Yes.
something else. Is that yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really great summary
Great.
there. Now, of course, the option is there as well. If you want to continue to worship with Southside, we have services every week. It just happens to be at another center. But there's a lot of people who are doing that, and we're really, really
Yeah.
grateful that people are engaging in that space. But if you personally are challenged with this idea that, well, rather than just being at home and having a quiet day, I want to use this time to go and do something missional, maybe start thinking about that. And Jock, how about if we encourage people to maybe put some comments down on this video?
That would be great. Yeah.
And we can come back next week or the week after and begin to tackle some of these suggestions.
Because there will be people amongst us who they've got the means and they've got the time and to have a vast array of options in front of them in terms of what they could do. But there'll be people who may be watching this and thinking, yeah, that's all good and well, Jock and Esteban, but I can't drive past a certain time, or my mobility is an issue, or something like that, or maybe people who are in that situation, and that's completely legitimate. So we've got to think maybe a little bit more differently then for people in that kind of situation, who, like for example, maybe it's people here at Yeronga, and I know a few people that they will come here to Yeronga very happily, but just purely because of they don't have the means to go elsewhere, they won't. So for people who fall into that, specific place, that category, well, what are the opportunities then that can present themselves when they're not able to come to worship and maybe aren't even able to access online as well? So that maybe they're not necessarily watching this at the time, but finding ways to include people in mission.
That's right. We want to include you in that conversation. And maybe you're not part of Southside. Maybe you've had the opportunity to see this video and you're part of our wider circle of friends and associates in the Uniting Church or in further Christian circles, in which case we want to encourage you as well. Engage in the conversation. Tell us, what would you think to do in that context? What are some suggestions and maybe some challenges that there might be in those spaces?
Yeah.
We'd really love to engage with you in that conversation.
And what are you doing, mate? You might be doing something right now.
You might be doing something else.
Yeah, let us know.
Something I stumbled across last night, actually. Lindsay Cullen in New South Wales posted about Sci-Fi Church.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very cool, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You can find out about it. It's on Facebook. So Google Sci-Fi Church on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll stumble across it just as I did.
Yeah, right.
I met Lindsay Cullen a couple of years ago with the Assembly Resourcing Group, and we've been Facebook friends ever since. It's been really interesting to hear and learn a little bit about what they do in that space and how different it is, how diverse it is from regular worship. So even something like that. I mean, maybe there's an interest group within the life of the community that might be able to come together. Anyway, we'd love to hear your thoughts. We really would.
Yeah, please do.
Absolutely. Well, mate, we might leave it there. I think that's a good place to round it up on. So I've been Reverend Esteban.
Yep. And I'm Jock Dunbar.
And we have absolutely loved sharing this time with you. And we will see you next week. Please remember to leave a comment. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. God bless.